Your Tigers are victorious. Might I even say elite? The Tigers take down the Michigan Wolverines in Atlanta in the Sweet 16. We are here to break it down with you on a very late post-game show. Let's talk about the score, the stats, and the storylines. Basically, the only one you need to know is that Auburn is elite. Let's get into all those different things right now. War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about the Auburn experience. That Auburn experience to us is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. If it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to do this evening on a very late post-game show. We're reacting on this live stream with you all. Want to hear your comments and questions and thought processes and celebrations about all these different things. But what we're here to talk about is Auburn taking down Michigan in the Sweet 16. Your final score, 78-65. The Tigers are victorious. The stat I have for you is 22. That is the points that Janai Broome had today, bouncing back from what I believe people were characterizing in some ways as kind of a little bit of a slump for him. 22 points for Janai Broome. Let's throw in his rebounds as well with 16 total. Just go on top of that. And your major storyline, the Auburn Tigers see Trey Donaldson again, but they do not fall victim to that. They get revenge on Danny Wolf. So many storylines you could pick in this one, honestly. But there it is, the score, the stats, the storylines. Let's get into all those different things this evening. Let's hear from you, the Auburn family, right now in the chat. Go ahead and smash that like button. You know you want to celebrate right now. It's awesome. But do that for us if you can. Let us know that you're here. If you're watching on the replay, that's always appreciated as well. You can drop comments there and we'll respond to them as soon as we can. Should we just start by celebrating? I think that is really what we need to do to start this. Too many times we move right into just talking about it, and we will discuss the individual stats. We will discuss the team stats, and we will continue to talk about the storylines. But far too often, I think we start these shows just overanalyzing things. Let's just celebrate, folks. A lot of people asked me this year, before the season started, as the season was going on, what are your expectations for this team? And I always start where the program's at. It's pretty much the same answer for, whatever program we're talking about. What should be their expectation considering where they're at as a program? And I said that Auburn should always make the Sweet 16 considering where Bruce Pearl has them out right now, in my humble opinion. As the team progressed this year, I felt that they should make the Elite Eight. That should be the expectation, and they have met that. Now, some of you would say, and at times this year I would agree, this team not making a Final Four, we'll talk about that down the line, worry about that down the line, would be a bit of a disappointment. And it's always a disappointment, right? But let's just take a moment and realize that the Auburn Tigers are part of an elite group this year in this conference, in this college basketball landscape, which has seen the most chalk in this tournament, which I would argue makes it the most difficult in quite some times in tournament's history. So just some excitement for me, just some wanting to give you guys reasons to celebrate other than just the win, other than just going to the Elite Eight. Take a second, breathe it in. Your Tigers are elite. All right, let's go ahead and say hello to a bunch of you that are here. We got so many celebrations rolling in from across the land on different platforms. I'm not going to be able to say hello to all of you today, but I do want to make sure that we acknowledge a few of you here in the chat that are celebrating with We Are Elite. Good to see so many regulars and new faces. Don't be strangers. For those of you that are new people, we'd love to see you here. Devin already wants to know. Devin, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about Tom Izzo. She's been ragging me in our Discord all night about the fighting Tom Izzos. We'll get there. I'm excited for that matchup. But let's break this one down a little bit first. Some of you have already done it, but please, let's do this as a group collectively in the live chat. I'd like to know your player of the game. POTG, last name, is the easiest way to do it, so I can get a good perspective in the chat of who is voting for who. These are always fun ones to do, just to see where people are going. I think, as is typically the case most nights when we're breaking down victory, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people here, and there's probably going to be a fan favorite. However, at certain points throughout the night, you can point to Denver Jones took over. Tahad Pettiford just did Tahad Pettiford things. You could point to Janai. Basically, after a little bit of a slow start, just was doing Janai Broom things. I've been talking about this a lot with people on this stream, these type of streams, when we do TikTok streams in person, about how Janai has built up such a high standard of what we expect, what he expects of himself. First of all, that's the only thing that matters in his coaches, but what we expect of him, that anything below that kind of disappoints us a little bit. So this is very much back up to that standard that he sets for himself, that we believe that he's capable of. 22 points, 16 rebounds. I'm going to give him the player of the game for me. So many of you are offering up opinions right there. We got Pettiford as well. We got one for Chaney Johnson on the defensive end. That's always much appreciated when we can give love to those guys. Denver Jones. I saw some more Tahad Pettifords earlier. Robert just wants to give the feel-good generic answer. The team, you win. But it's not incorrect. One thing that I want to point out in just thriving in the feel-good aspect of this, how awesome is it to hear not just the chants from the upper deck of when we're visiting some away team of Auburn. It's great to be an Auburn Tiger ringing out, because we can do that. But in Atlanta, our backyard, our people showed up and proved that we weren't going to let this one go away without a fight. And so I think, once again, I can throw out all the different adages, verbiage, sayings, and stuff, and I probably will continue to do that. But I'm going to press this upon you guys the rest of the time that we're talking about this team, and probably any time that you're watching this. It is not about how you start the game. It is about how you finish. I think we all recognize that this team started in a very rough fashion with turnovers. We'll get there. But they responded in kind. And point to you this, it was already bad enough with the turnovers that Auburn was having throughout the entire game. But when Michigan goes on their big run and pushes it out to 9 points, they respond with their own big run. I think it was even bigger than that, and took the lead back over and never looked back. Brian, I do not have an Elite Eight ticket. Unfortunately, it is not happening, but I'll continue to look. It's probably not going to have that on there. Let's see here. So many other celebrations rolling in. What else do we got in here? Auburn found their points in the second half from Robbie. Let's walk through some individual stuff and talk about that a little bit. We got a lot of people that were offering various opinions about player of the game. Let's see if we can figure it out. We already talked about Janai a little bit, rightfully so. 22 points, 16 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. He does have 5 turnovers in the day. It's not great. He does foul out, but 3 for 5 from the free throw line, 1 for 3 from the 3-point arc, and then 9 for 21 on the day for Janai. So that's his stats. Let's look at Denver. 7 for 13 on the day, 4 for 7. 4 for 7. Let me say that again. 4 for 7. Denver Jones is him. From the 3-point arc, makes all his free throws tonight. He does get a total of 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and he only has 1 turnover in the day. Played outstanding defense and offense tonight. Denver Jones, you are him. What a great performance by him. We talked about Tahad Pettiford, 7 for 14 from the field today, and he had a bit of a rough start to the game in terms of making baskets, but once he got hot, I mean, it's Tahad, right? 2 for 7 from the 3-point arc, made 4 of 5 from the free throw line. He gets 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. I forgot about that block that he had. That was pretty dang awesome. He does have 3 turnovers and 20 points. So those are probably your biggest. Those are your 3 in double digits. And here's the great thing. All 3 of those guys in double digits hit 20 points tonight. How cool is that? That's really cool. Now, certainly just because you didn't score 20 points doesn't mean you weren't a big factor in this game. So certainly want to talk about that. WT says, once again, Cardwell will not get the props for his defense. He was a game changer. I think Cardwell, after that first round game, we all know that he was the leader. He's been the de facto captain and leader of this team, if not in spirit, just in reality. But he really asserted himself in that way after that game verbally. and appropriately so. But what he has followed it up with is his at least standard of play that he's always brought out there, but increased production. Some of that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Dylan tonight, he does not. He gets 1 point, 1 point for Dylan Cardwell. He has 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 3 personal fouls. I thought Dylan had more fouls than that, and I am shocked that we are sitting here talking about a Auburn victory of this magnitude with Janai fouling out. I know it was at the end of the game, but with 3 fouls on Dylan. Chaney had 4. That is the thing that scared me the entire night, or leading up to this game. If anything was going to scare me, was us getting into foul trouble. The big guys getting into foul trouble, and boy, did we still find a way to maintain. Let's look at the rest of your scores this evening. We've got Chad Baker-Mazara with 6 points. He does get 1 block, 2 steals, 2 assists, makes all his free throws tonight, and 2 rebounds. So Chad, again, a little bit of a quieter night offensively, but I thought there were a lot, one of the big narratives with Chad this year has been over emotional, getting technicals and stuff like that. I thought there were plenty of opportunities tonight for him to get overly emotional, have some of those things that people worry about. And he didn't do that. At least he kept it in check. He had 4 fouls, but some of those were a little ticky-tack in my opinion. So Chad, I think, is doing exactly what he needs to do right now. Respond in kind and do the little things, and then you'll have your big one. That was a nice slam for him at the end of the game right there. Here's from Brent. He says, War Eagle sweet to elite. I didn't even think about that alliteration. It's pretty awesome. Right there. Let's see here. Where are we at? Trying to make sure we didn't miss anything about individuals in this chat. So many other celebrations rolling in. 31 wins is the most wins we've ever had in a season. So there you go. There's another, just chalk it up to another thing Bruce Pearl has done for this team. He's running out of things to check off the list, in my opinion. Rest of the individual scores tonight. Let's see, where am I at on there? We talked about Chad and Dylan. Miles Kelly. Again, Miles looked like he was going to get off to one of his hot starts again, and then just kind of really cooled off. He has 5 points on the day, but again, I think he played some great defense. He's got 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers. So a quiet night, but really not an ineffective night for him. Chris Moore gets in the game for just a little bit, so it was nice to see him out there after his big injury. And then Chaney Johnson has 4 points, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Chaney was doing everything tonight. He doesn't get his points that we would hope he would get, but Chaney was doing everything. So hats off to Chaney for doing that. Great job. Okay, let's look at some team stats. I want to see some of the things that you guys are talking about. We will look ahead a little bit, but if you've got comments, topics right now that you'd like to talk about individuals, a moment, a frustration, or anything like that that's individual based, please bring that up in the chat, and we will certainly dive into that a little bit more throughout the stream, but even now as we roll through the rest of our show tonight. Excuse me, I had to take a little bit of a sip there. I'm a little bit hoarse from all of the yelling that I had to do at the TV tonight. By the way, can I just take a quick aside? You're all welcome. We were not doing good, and I was watching the game somewhere else. I left to come here to get ready in studio, and we started doing good. So you're all welcome, because I am exactly the reason that we were losing, the fact that I was watching somewhere else. Let's see here. Kevlar says we wore them down in a 30-8 run. A 30-8 run showed that. It's really interesting to watch the momentum that Michigan had after their little run, going up by 9, I believe, and then how that just flipped on its. It's like that run woke Auburn up. And if I'm not mistaken, Bruce Pearl made a very important timeout when they were in the middle or at the end of that run. And a lot of I've got somebody, I don't remember them off name, and I'm not necessarily calling them out, but I'd like to point to their point that they've been trying to make a lot this season, that they don't think Bruce Pearl takes his timeouts correctly. Well, tonight you can't say that. Brilliant timeout. If that 30-8 run is correct, certainly it is proof that he knows how to do what he needs to do with his timeouts. Okay, let's walk through team stats here. You all know where we're going to start. The big three. Say it with me: turnovers, rebounds, and free throws. Usually they tell the tale of the tape together about what your chances were of winning. Let's see if it matches up here. Good crowd here tonight, by the way. If you guys are brand new on whatever platform you're watching, like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff, please do that for us. So tonight in free throw percentage, 77.8% for Auburn, 75% for Michigan. Auburn wins by the skin of their teeth, and they get very, very close to that 80% mark that I have as my high water mark. That is a good night free throw. They win that category. Let's look at the turnovers. Here's the ironic thing. As bad as we were at turnovers, they were just as bad. Literally 15 and 15. It is a push. I'm going to make this argument. First of all, I think something was on the ball tonight. I mean, every guy was letting it fall out of their hands, going through their hands or just losing it. It didn't matter if they were wearing maize and gold or orange and blue tonight. That ball had something on it. And if Michigan had been able to exploit the amount of turnovers that Auburn was having in the first half, we'd be sitting here having a very, very somber conversation about us exiting the Sweet 16. So it's a push, 15 of 15. Making sure I'm reading that correctly. Nope, hold on. Yeah, total turnovers tonight. So free throws there. We've talked about turnovers. Let's look at rebounds. 33 to 48. That might be your stat of the game right there. The Auburn Tigers out-rebound the Michigan Wolverines with their two giant 7-footers, 33 to 48. Offensive rebounds, there's a differential of 9. There's a differential of 6 in defensive rebounds. Outstanding. You win turnovers. You win rebounds. You at least make up the ground and tie in turnovers after that horrendous start. Outstanding response, outstanding way to finish the game in those categories for Auburn. So many people here as well. Thank you guys for watching. Let's see here. I was hoping they'd get on a run. This is from Joshua at some point, and they did. You knew they were due for it, but would it be enough, and would they be too far behind by the time that happened? How about the Facebook crowd? Welcome, guys. Normally lonely on this side. Wow, Jacob, thanks for calling out the. I see a lot of you guys in the Facebook. This maybe not as active as what he's saying in the chat. Yes, there's certainly a lot. We're here all day. We've been here all season, so make sure you join us in the future if you'd like to. I mean, obviously, you're only guaranteed one more game, but we'll be doing that in the future. The rest of your team stats tonight. Let's look at them. Field goal percentage in Auburn's favor, 39% to 35. 3-point percentage was not great to start off the game, but it got okay. 28% for Auburn, 29% for Michigan. They win that category, but we made up some ground to make it not so bad. If they shoot 3-pointers a little bit better, which they did last game, and if they take advantage, Kyle, talk of the turnovers a little bit more, we're having a somber conversation right now. We've talked about rebounds, assists. Auburn 15 to 6. They get back to form in that category. That's great to see right there. Points off of turnovers. Auburn wins that by a differential of 10. Fast break points. They win. Points in the paint is very close, 30 to 32, but Auburn wins. And then fouls tonight was pretty fair. 19 for Auburn, 17 for Michigan. And the largest lead for each team was 9. Auburn's was 14. Take a breath, everybody. Just take a breath. Soak this in. What an incredible night. What an incredible performance. Not a great start, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish the game. All right, what's on y'all's minds related to this? We'll start moving towards looking ahead here in just a little bit, but what else haven't we talked about this evening that we need to discuss? WT said, I can't believe that for most of the game, UM kept their big men out of the perimeter. That played a big part in us out rebounding them. I'm honestly shocked that we've out rebounded them the way we did, which is saying something with two giant 7-footers. Devin, I'm so glad we got revenge on Danny Wolf. He was looking too smug. Yeah, he was having quite the game. So let's give credit where credit is due. Had a very good game, and if those two had the two of them, Golden and him, at the same time had started doing their great performances, this would have been a little bit scared. Thankfully, he was shut down, or one was shut down while the other was having their time. But we get revenge on Danny Wolf and shut down the Alabama fans that were waiting to scream Yale tonight as a reminder of last year. John is here, says great finish, but we got to start faster on Sunday. It would be nice to start faster, but we win the category. As long as they respond at some point, that's all I ask for. Kevin says player of the game to Broom for keeping it close until the guard play got it going. It's a great point. This is what your leaders do. They keep you going. They keep you in the game until everybody else kind of gets themselves figured out. What else from you guys here? A lot of people are looking ahead. After that timeout, this is from Chris in the second half. It was game on. I want to be a fly on the wall and see what they said. See what Coach Bruce Pearl said. All right. Let's do this part of the show. We're going to move into our future thinking. What's next for Auburn? We will do that a little bit here now, but let me give you some reminders, the rundown of stuff. We're not done talking about this game. If you got something that you want to bring up, something that we haven't discussed especially, so keep putting that in the chat as we continue the show. Here are your reminders. I don't even know if I have cue cards ready for most of this stuff. We know who we're going to play. This is an old cue card. We're going to play Michigan State in the Fighting Tom Izzo's. So I'm going to tell you guys this. We are planning to do either and both or a post-game stream for that game, win or lose, and or a Auburn the Auburn Experience podcast live recording at 9 Eastern that night. We don't know the game times yet, I believe. I don't think those have been set. I don't know what my status is going to be Sunday. I'm hoping there's going to be some type of ticket that's halfway reasonable that I can drive into Atlanta and go see this team. So I'll just ask you all to be on standby. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following, because Sunday could be a day of being in flux. It's going to be a wild day and hopefully a fun day at the end of it. Just keep that in mind. Of course, Auburn Family Night on Wednesday, and the schedule will be shifting a little bit here as we move towards the end of this basketball season. This is from Devin. It says, not sure if you mentioned this yet, but I don't know if you noticed that Trey called Tahad little in the first half. After that, Trey had no points and 4 turnovers. Meanwhile, Tahad went off on 20 points. Karma. I didn't see that he called him little. I did see him start talking to Tahad, and this is why you don't trash talk at all, but you save it for the end of the game at the very least, because things can certainly backfire on you. I will say this. I love Trey Donaldson. I am very sad that he didn't get to play with us this year. I think he would have been a great asset to this team. You could also make the point that if he was here, it would mess up the dynamics of this team and people how they're playing and the time that they're seeing currently right now. So all that to be said, I do wish him well. I hope he has continued success over there or wherever he's going to be. And but it is nice to see Tahad kind of show up, Aiden, Trey in some ways as, hey, we got our guy right here, and we're really happy with what we have, and he's happy with us. Let's see here. If we come out against MSU like we did against Michigan, we may find ourselves in a hole that we can't get out of. That was my fear tonight. WT was how big can this hole get for us to come back from in this game, and us not be able to have a run of ourselves that can counteract that. Let's see. Reminders of your ticket prices as of right now at over midnight. On a Saturday morning, I guess technically $300. I don't know if that's before fees, but still very, very expensive. All right, Lucas says it looks like the game will be 405. Oh man, woo! Lots of decisions to make on Sunday if that's true, but it's going to be exciting. Devin has been giving me crap about Tom Izzo. She says, I'm not trying to dismiss your warnings about Tom Izzo and how good he is in March. I just love how excited you get about Tom Izzo. And I know you mean it in good fun. Trust me. I push the Tom Izzo thing just because I know it's ridiculous sometimes, but it's actually kind of true. I love Tom Izzo. I love him as a coach. I there's probably the only coach I love more than Bruce Pearl is Tom Izzo. And it pains me that the Auburn Tigers now have to go and defeat him to the path to the Final Four. I made the bold prediction for you all on the podcast 2 episodes ago. The clip is out there. You can go clip it. And I said this, and I'm going to stand by it, that if Auburn makes it out of this region, they have one more game to go, they will win the national title. I understand who's in front of us currently, Tom Izzo. That is a big enough challenge. I understand who will likely be there on that side of the bracket, Florida. I understand the litany of poor choices that can be there on the other side of the bracket in the Final Four for the national title. Standing by that statement, it doesn't look so bad, does it? Got to get through the next game first, though. I'm so excited and also disappointed that we have to play Tom Izzo. I'm going to say Tom Izzo 1,000 times. You haven't figured out that by now. So many people are looking ahead to some potential revenge matchups in the Final Four. Certainly those might be there. We shall see. I can't decide if I want Florida or not. Again, don't be scared. Be excited. You know, it's my sticking point this offseason. We have so much to be excited about. I know you're not actually scared. Kevlar says we have to be more crisp, accurate with our passing. I hate how we get too sloppy at times, value each possession. You know, I don't think that we've been that sloppy throughout the year. Certainly this game feels a little bit more, it is on the high side, but it feels like on the highest of those sides of being sloppy. And unfortunately, you chosen at this point the biggest moment to have that happen. Thankfully, they were just as sloppy. Thankfully, they did not exploit our sloppiness as much as they could have, or else we would be very, very sad this evening. All right, final thoughts, questions, comments, topics on this post-game Auburn versus Michigan show. I am so excited that we get to continue. I am so excited that we get to play Tom Izzo. I'm so excited that your Tigers are elite. I'm excited that Janai Broome stepped up in a big way as we knew he could. The other great players and moments during this game of Tahad, of Denver, the players that don't get the recognition like Dylan. It was great. By the way, we've got videos out there of the Tiger Walk on social media right now. We'll probably have some up on YouTube tomorrow or something like that. Make sure you go look at those, take a look at those. Some great moments there. And man, what a great time to be an Auburn basketball fan. Devin with a little bit of a point here. Izzo is 10-0 against the SEC in the tournament. Yikes, time to break the streak. I told you all also, along with my prediction, that if Auburn gets out of this region, the reason I made that prediction is because this region is the toughest. People are going to argue with that day and night, but the metric was there on Selection Sunday, and I think it's proven that in the way Auburn has had to fight. Certainly, they have not played up to their fullest potential at times throughout this tournament, but it still wasn't enough to take them down. Michigan is a very good team. Creighton is a very good team. Alabama State is Alabama State, but they gave us a little bit of fight. Now you got to go beat Tom Izzo. Need I say anything else? What a night. What a tournament. What an amazing way to spend an evening, a late evening with you all here to talk about the Auburn experience. I am looking forward to doing this again with you at least one more time. I am looking forward to breaking that game, win or lose. The Tigers continue. Our time and post games continue. We will be with you in some way, form, or fashion on Sunday. So follow, subscribe, all the things. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Till we talk to you again, War Eagle.